Hello, it's 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have advance of the Zero Bidonville project of housing. The Ministers of Muslim Affairs for the international scene, EU, calls on Iran to stop enrichment of uranium. Welcome to our newsroom, the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf Goods, Mumin Hassan Barre, sponsored the ceremony of distributions of the first tranche of the sponsorship of the year 2019 at the People's Palace. The event took place in the presence of the Diwan Zakat Director Suleiman Hussein Musa and Djiboutian businessmen. During this ceremony, each of these orphans receives an envelope of 15,000 Djibouti francs from the Minister of Muslim Affairs and Culture responsible for Waqf Goods, Mumin Hassan Barre, and the General Director of Diwan Zakat. The generosity of the Djiboutians allowed these foundations to intensify and continue its charitable work from years to years. This says a lot about the spirit of solidarity of Djiboutian. The event gave smiles to some thousands, 116 orphans from the different popular areas of the capital. Diwan Zakat's goal is to give orphans a smile. In an intervention, is the responsible of the board of director, the foundation of the Diwan Zakat, Mr. Muhammad Abdi Said, stressed the importance of guarantees constant and regular support to orphan and urged the trader and businessmen to contribute to this noble project. In an intervention made on the spot, the General Director of Diwan Zakat reminded that this charitable foundations has seen from year to year a clear evolution of its activity. It has gained to the trust of the people living on the land and poor families and organizations working to combat poverty and social exclusion, he said. The General Director of Diwan Zakat Foundation, Suleiman Hussein Musa, recalled in quote, the foundation knows from year to year a clear evolution of its activity. It has gained the trust of the people living on the land, poor families and organizations working to combat poverty and social exclusion, he said. For his part, the Minister Mumin Hassan Barre has sponsored at microphone. Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre pointed out that the holdings of this zakat distribution ceremony reflects our traditional sense of hospitality and solidarity, which is an integral part of our national identity. In a solemn tone, he urged the Djiboutian citizens to show solidarity with their most vulnerable compatriots. In fact, because the generosity of the Djiboutian allowed these foundations to intensify and continue its charitable works over time. For the Ministers of Culture in charge of property, Waqf and Muslim Affairs, Mumin Hassan Barre, Diwan Zakat has gone through several stages, the first being that of a firm political will of the head of state. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahamoud, led today the work of meetings with the local group of partners of education's numerous diplomats, including U.S. Ambassador, UNICEF representative, and leader of the local group of education partners, representative of UN agencies and international organizations, as well as executive and MENFOP leaders took part in this important meeting. The agenda included the integrations of refugee children into the education system, but also the presentations of studies in the framework of the integrations refugee children and integrate rural schools. For her part, UNICEF representative Janabu Maunde, who is also the leaders of the local group of education partner, she praised the commitment of MENFOP in its effort to bring about the integration of refugee children into the national education system. For his part, the ministers first welcomed everyone to the local group of partners of education. He recalled especially that this project is in line with the visions of the head of state Ismail Margelle, the access of refugee children to a quality and inclusive education is one of the wheels. He said that the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, expressed his sincere thanks to all representatives of UN agencies and international organizations for his unwavering commitment to our educational system. The director of the General Directors of National Police, Colonel Abdullah Abdi Farah, accompanied by several experts of the police unit, constitute of the African Union, yesterday carried out a prior check of the various teams ready to be deployed in Mogadishu in Somalia. The various police grouping consisting of a policing sections, a rapid intervention, a combat section is raid accompanied by logistically reinforced attack dogs and armored sections placed under the command of the two senior Djiboutian officers. These units will soon be deployed in the Somali capital to carry out peacekeeping and security operation in Mogadishu. The information systems agencies of state organized this morning at Campus Key Hotel Palace a temporary acceptance workshop on the validation of the e-government strategy 2019-2020. The goal of the event is to put in place a strategy, a vision, and a digital organizational culture for a more promising digital momentum. It is through this initiative to build a platform that can lead to inclusive development that courageous and determined march toward an emerging Djibouti with strengthened governance, a reassuring Republican philosophy that is the launch of the national strategy of e-government, which according to the director of ANSI, translate the firm will of its excellence, Mr. Ismail Margelle, in order to build more efficient administrations, more adapted, more modern, and more close to users. Attend the event the General Director of ANSI, the Governor of the Central Bank, the representative of the World Bank, the Director of the General Director of Djibouti Telecom, and the General Directors of Civil Service, and a number of agents from different ministries. This workshop plays a leading role in setting up a clear and realistic strategy that can speed up the digital transformation process. The governor of a bank took stock of the process of digitization of banking system that take place within, but also stress the importance of working together by pooling our effort so that customers and bankers, managers take advantage of these facilities resulting digital. This Wednesday, July 10, 2019, were organized at the Sheikh Moussa Training Centers of the National Gendarmerie a reception ceremony of high-end medical equipment donated by the Republic of Egypt for the benefit of the National Gendarmerie. These include a dialysis machine to treat the patient with kidney failure. Present at this ceremony, His Excellency the Ambassador of Egypt in the Republic of Djibouti, accompanied by the Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy, the Chief of Staff National Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, Colonel Doctors Head of the Gendarmerie, and several senior officers of the institution. This donation will undoubtedly improve the quality of care of our fellow citizens, has just strengthened the ties that unite our respective countries. Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, Chief of Staff, did not hesitate to state this is in his address after having thanked the brotherly people of Egypt through his ambassador. Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden also underlined the long cooperation that unit the National Gendarmerie and the Embassy of the Republic of Egypt, especially in the field of training. As signatories of Memorandum of Understanding between Tashroad International Holding Group and the National Tourist Office of Djibouti for the project entitled Tower Africa, the New Horizon of Tashroad. The purpose of this document is to set out the terms of Memorandum of Understanding between Tashroad and the National Tourism Board of Djibouti, which will serve as a framework for establishing and expanding cooperation and collaboration for the mutual benefit of both parties. Tashroad is currently working with African government on this Tower Africa, the New Horizon project, to strengthen the tourist sectors in African countries and encourage Chinese citizens to visit Africa, as well as investors to invest in tourism and hotel industry of African countries. The group Tashroad International Holding is based in Shanghai, but was initially established in Ghana, West Africa in 2000. From now on, Tashroad has become a multinational group engaged in international trade, investment, cultural exchange, tourism development of especially economic zone with companies in more than 13 African countries, Europe and America. Tashroad has subsidiary in Djibouti, Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, United Kingdom, United States and Belgium. For his part, the Director General of the National Offices of Tourism, Usman Abdi Mohammed, explained in his speech that this memorandum of understandings covered the following specific areas: cooperating in tourism and hospitality in Africa, identify and agree on specific tourist areas for each African members of the project, applied research and development that can be used in a practical way by stakeholders in the tourism industry for the policy and general decision makings of the respective African member in this project. As part of the capacity buildings of the local police of the city Beledweyne and the civilian populations to fight against the terrorist act and extremist group Al-Shabaab, the mission of the African Union in Somalia organized a seminar for women. These seminars of paramount importance was presided by the commanders of the Amisom police of the city of Beledweyne, the commanders of the Somali battalion, Colonel Farah Koshin, the prosecutors of the Somali military court, Muhammad Abdul Qadir, and the representative of the forces of the Djibouti army, Hil Walal, the Lieutenant Ayale Hassan Muhammad, the prefect of the region, Muhammad Ahmed Food, and several other officials. In addition to the leaders, this seminar was held in the presence of numbers of the local police forces of the city of Beledweyne and young girls from the civil society, as well as female staff of the Djiboutian armed forces. The team of hope of the Djiboutian Federations of Football of Djibouti, the Blue Sharks, beat the team of Haiti by a score of 5-0. Opening scores a brilliant attenuating after 10 minutes games. The Sharks did not stop the ball on the goalkeepers of the 4-goal has 2-0 for the first half times, and the second half time for the Sharks to succeed, the 3-goal finally the victory to be savored by the Shark team to win the victory by the score of 7-0 in the Djiboutian football stories. This is the first in the Djiboutian football stories. Following the victory, we had the reactions of the famous coach, Mr. Mohamed Younis Arre. We regret to announce the death of the late Mohammed Oussi Wais on Monday evening, 9th, in Sweden, born in 1953. He leaves behind him a large family, including a widow, 4 sons and 2 daughters, and 10 grandchildren. He deceased was the maternal uncles of our colleague Mohammed Ige. the management and all the staffs of the RTD associate themselves with the grief of the families of the late Muhammad Absiya Wais and offer his condolence. All pray the good God to welcome him into his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, the transmissions of Ebola virus in western Uganda, where 2 children died of hemorrhagic fevers and mid-June, is interrupted, said Wednesday the Minister of Health of the Democratic Republic of Congo. In first line facing the epidemic, the Minister of Health of the Republic of Uganda has announced that all contacts of the index case on one of the 2 deceased children have completed their 21 days mandatory follow-up period without developing the signs of disease, he said, indicate the Congolese Ministry of Health in its daily news. Europe urges Iran to respect the limits set by the agreement on its nuclear program after Tehran's latest threat to further increase its uranium enrichment. The union's continuous discussions to try to save the taxes which Washington's withdrew last year. We have asked Iran not to take any new measures that would compromise the nuclear deal, said spokesman for Europe diplomacy, and we urged it to stop and return to its activities which are contrary to the commitment made in this framework. These include the productions of enriched uranium beyond the limit imposed by this agreement. There are many efforts being made to preserve this text that, as we have said, is a crucial government for the regions and beyond. On Monday, Tehran threatened to further increase its uranium enrichment to a level more than 5 times higher than the ceilings imposed by the agreement. This is it for tonight's news. Thanks for watching us.